Hi everyone, this is Annalisa with Inside Real Estate. We are going to get started in about a minute. Just want to allow a little time for people to trickle in. I did drop the link to the doc into a chat for you all, and I'll do that again in just a moment. If someone could just type into the question box via their GoToWebinar that they can hear me and see my shared screen now, that would be helpful. That way I'll know we are good to go.
Yep,
I can hear you, Jordan. Oh, cool. All right, great. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and drop that information into everyone again. So I just sent everyone the doc link and just information. If you have audio issues, just try exiting and rejoining the session. Or when you rejoin, use the dial in for audio. Or if you use dial in and it wasn't working, try your computer audio. Give that a shot. All right. So like I said, this is Annalisa with Inside Real Estate. I have Ryan Hartman with me today. And hey, Ryan, how are you?
I am good.
Great. And today we are going, aw, thanks. It was a good one.
Yesterday. Good.
Yes. Yeah, 25 feels amazing.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, exactly. Today we're going to speak to the K plus basic organization and management of contacts. Plus, we're going to dive a little bit into the core property boost, just so you're aware of what it can do in the breadth of results it has the potential to bring to you in views and helping your listing presentation, helping you get the place sold and lead gen. So it's got a lot of goodies with it. So without further ado, here we go. So today's outline basically is the intro we just covered, and then we're going to take a look at some listing alerts, scheduled calls, the different types of reports that can be sent out, just so you're aware of what the system sends, what you can set up to be sent, and what you can send or what you might expect to get from the system. And if you have questions, please go ahead and drop them into that chat box, and we will get to those throughout the session. So the first thing I would like to do is just talk a bit about setting up alerts. And on this doc, I actually added the links to this specific article. So you just have to click and then read the information if you want to learn more. But I'm going to go ahead and go through the how-to on the setting up alerts and a trigger by hashtag, and then we'll talk a bit about scheduling sets of follow-up calls. So on the K plus dashboard, of course, you know that your leads are going to land in the system, and part of what is important for you, the agent, to be aware of and to follow through on is making sure you have listing alerts set up for your folks. So when a new lead lands, like if I just look in my new lead bucket here, we'll just pretend that one of these just landed. Diego, we'll just say he just landed in the system. So when we look at a profile on Conversion Plus, you can kind of glance right over here on this left-hand side below their photo if they brought one in via the email that they used to register. And you can see if alerts are set up with this little check mark. So the first thing you need to do is identify who has alerts set up and who doesn't. So when you're looking at an individual contact, you can see this little check mark to see if alerts are set up. You can also click on the alerts tab across the top and see if alert 1 or alert 2 are set up. If alert 1 is set up, there's a little check mark in the box. If it's not set up, it's blank like alert 2 is here. Now, another way you can see a mass result is you can actually look at your leads. So click on this lead box here on the left. And then if you scroll down about a little over halfway, maybe 2/3 down, you'll see this no alerts, and no drips is important as well, but we're looking at no alerts right now. So if you click this, the system is going to compile everyone in your database who does not have a listing alert set up. So this is a really good thing for you to kind of work into your routine, maybe once or twice a week, to come back and touch on this, as you're working on creating your alerts every day. Just kind of give yourself a little check and balance. So what this can tell you is, like Terry, they haven't looked at any properties yet. So when you look across this section, you'll see this little eyeball. So they haven't looked at any properties yet. We really don't know much about them and what they're looking for as of yet. Their information came in with some good information on the data validation, so we can take a look at that. They came in January. They haven't visited the site. We've emailed them once, so you can kind of get an idea of what you can check on in addition to setting up alerts as you're looking at this overall picture. Now, if we want to set up alerts for this person, we can just click their name. And we really don't know much about this person initially. Like for myself, when this person got added in, I dropped them in as part of a recruiting landing page. That's how I landed this test account on my test dashboard. So I can know at a glance, this is how this person landed, in case you're looking at those hashtags and being like, wait a minute, they landed as a recruit. But let's say Terry came in as a lead. We need to bring them back to start looking at properties, encourage them to use us as their one-stop shop and resource for their home buying or home selling, or maybe it's both purposes. So you can actually just click on the alerts tab, click into alert 1. That's always the one that's open automatically. And I really encourage you to create an alert that has a general idea of the type of home that people are looking for in your area on average, just to make sure they're getting something that's going to point them back to your website to look for homes every time. Now, to set up alerts, you basically click into the boxes and add in the different listing types. If you accidentally hit one like commercial and you're like, oh darn, don't want it, just click the X and you can get rid of it. The same goes with options. These are all options that are pretty much static throughout all of the MLS in North America into Canada, US. So if they're like, hey, you know what, I got a bad knee, I need my master on the main floor, you can add that option here. Now, this other section where it says hot water, parking, storage, these are all unique to the MLS of which I am connected to as a user. So if you have specific filters like hot water or parking or water view or mountain view or near such and such that are unique filters from your MLS, you can actually chat with support here down at the bottom right, or email support at insiderealestate.com and say, okay, I'd really like to get these filters to be pulling from my MLS so they can be added to your backend alerts. And when those get added to the backend alert, it's going to add these options on the front side for your consumer to add in if they would like to as well. So this kind of has a double use. Now, if you want to choose an area or a map, you can do either or. So you have the ability to either draw an area on a map with a polygon. So you can actually click on this and then click this little 5-sided guy at the top left and just click in to anchor your point and then just draw your shape for the type of listing alert you want, and you can get as crazy as you want, really. So it'll pull just the homes in this shape as soon as I click apply for that listing alert. So now you can see it removed like the location stuff that was below because we chose a map. And now we can go in and choose our bed and bath, min and max price, years built, square footage. And a really nice option is you can opt to email a carbon copy to someone for that person. So maybe it's their husband, wife, significant other, grandma, who knows, but you can offer that. And then you can set your frequency. So instant, super handy if you've got some lean inventory. Daily is usually what everyone opts for, but of course you can also go bi-weekly and weekly if you need to. Now, once you have everything together here from top to bottom, you're going to click update, and the system is going to drop you from this first ribbon where it says alert 1 here on the top left to alert 1 results. That'll turn blue, and hopefully we'll see a little thumbs up guy here, which will tell us we have results. If not, then we need to adjust it a bit to get some results in there. So right now there's no new properties that are matching the map that I drew. So what I can do is I can go back to alert 1 and I can edit the map. I can kill the map and add in specific areas and try to get information. So if I want to add in a specific city, I just choose city, and I can choose, I can type in the name of the city to the right there. So I just type in the keyword and choose the match, and I can have multiple cities in here. So you can add in as many cities as you like, and it's actually going to expand down. I've had up to 15 areas defined at one point for someone that I used to work with. So if you want to identify a neighborhood or a county, then you put the county to the right. So you can kind of see it's all apples to apples, so city to city, county to county. If you want to put in multiple zip codes or MLS areas, or even around specific schools, you can do that as well. And then of course, drop down and click update. Okay, and we have some results here. Now, are there any questions so far on setting up alerts and what to be aware of with these in K+? And if I'm covering something you know, please let me know, because I don't want to have a Ferris Bueller moment where you're all kind of like nappy nap time. Is it going okay?
Seems okay to me.
Okay.
Yep.
I just wanted to check in with everybody. All right. I must have them all captivated. Let's see here. So when you get your results, you get this little thumbs up guy. And what you're going to be seeing are these tiles of homes which equate when this property was new or updated to the MLS of which you are connected to on your dashboard via your admin team broker. So this home was new or updated to the MLS 89 minutes ago. This one was 3 hours ago. This one was 14 hours ago. So what you can do when you're setting up alerts is also opt to send them an email link of the full listing to the leads and send out everything that matches them from the MLS right now. And then going forward, the system is going to be sending everything new or updated from the last 7 days. So it's always going to be pushing out updated content. So you can give them the whole shebang here with the email link to full listing list. And then going forward, it'll automatically send everything new or updated from the last 7 days. So they're constantly seeing new content. The cool thing about seeing this is you can say, okay, something happened here 89 minutes ago. Maybe I want to send this to them to try to bring them back to my system. This might be something I can entice Terry to come back to my site to look at. So I can actually click on this property, excuse me, and I can see this was just listed a little under 2 hours ago. And maybe this ticks the boxes for that person. Who knows? We need to try and find out. So from here, I can just click on what would you like to do and email it to the person, or I could grab my direct link and go to link shortener and text it to them as well if we have a phone number for them. So you've kind of got like a process of like, okay, are the alerts set up? Okay, I got to set those up. Oop, haven't heard from them. I need to bring them back. So I'll get these alerts set up. I'm going to send out my whole list of listings that match, and I'm going to send them a listing I know they haven't seen, which would be the 22 Horton. Now, the reason I know they haven't seen the property is on the results, these are all a square. So if they haven't seen the property, it's a square. If they have seen a property that comes up on the results, it'll be a rectangle in shape. So you'll know they've looked at it. So there's just a couple of visuals to take a look at. Any questions? Okay, and I saw someone had a question about drip campaigns. We will loop back to that at the end of this session here. Now, when we're speaking to alerts, you can also trigger them by hashtag, which is pretty cool because if you're starting to use the lead gen squeeze page and landing pages, when you're building these, you're adding in hopefully a hashtag, and a hashtag is a real amazing way for you to set up targeted lists of folks within your dashboard, as well as keeping track of who's looking for what. I mean, all these little ins and outs and details can be like held within a hashtag. So your hashtags live over here on the left, and they're basically, this is like a giant metal filing cabinet in K+, and each tag is a manila folder you're dropping people into so you can easily find them, send out mass emails, send out mass text, put them on a dialer on your mobile app. I mean, there's a lot you can do with these hashtags. So if you want to set up, maybe you set up a squeeze page and you put in like the hashtag, maybe I'm setting it up for like Chester or the city of East Chester, and I want to pull in single family home and condos that are just listed. I could use a hashtag like East Chester, and then SF and CD for condos maybe, and then JL for just listed. And this is a code, when I look at it from my business standpoint, I can glance at this and recognize it and know what it speaks to. course, you can use any code that you would like. It just has to be a minimum 4 characters, cannot start with the hashtag, so don't type the actual symbol in there. And it's 1 word, so it's not multiple words. You can see all mine are squished together, so it's basically one big old run-on word. Minimum 4 characters, cannot start with a numeral. So if I know I have new leads coming in with this tag attached, because I set up the squeeze page, I can then take this tag and be like, okay, well, I also want this tag to do double duty and set up alerts for me as well when these leads land. Now, to set those up, you just click on your name upper right, and then My Settings. And this takes us to a configuration page. And we're going to give this a hearty scroll down until we see Auto Assigned Listing Alerts for Leads. And this is where you would set that information up. Now, what you can do is, like what I have set up, I'm saying, okay, anybody who lands with the hashtag Evergreen School District gets single family homes and condos in the city of Warwick for any price. Anyone that comes in with the hashtag pool gets single family homes in the county of Orange. So you can set these up to trigger per hashtag. So, you know, I could say whenever someone lands with my hashtag of Orange Fetch, which is a landing page I had created for people looking for fenced properties for their furry friends in Orange County, then I can say, well, I want those to land with, you know, single family homes in Orange County. And then I can put in my price range and daily. So then I can choose my frequency and just click add. And now if I scroll back down, oh, it didn't, there it goes. I didn't wait long enough. I was impatient with that update. Sorry about that. Let me scroll back up. For some reason, it's not letting me click add. Oh, the area fell out. Sorry about that. But you kind of get the idea that you can, a little bit of work on the initial onset is going to help you have a very smoothed out process as you learn how to leverage the system. So that's just what I'm encouraging you to do. So when you click add, this page will update. And it didn't. So I'll have to talk with support and see what's happening there. Oh, I do see it added in the orange fetch right there. So you can see it added in the code, and now this is going to trigger a hashtag, which is pretty handy. Now, the next thing you can do is set up a set of follow-up calls in addition to the drip campaign of which you may have created that can have call triggers in it. This can come in very handy if you're looking at people that maybe are maybe a year or 2 out, they haven't retired yet. You just want to remind yourself to call them every couple months or a few times in the next coming weeks. It's real easy to set up. So if we go back to a lead, and someone that you want to get a hold of so many times over the next X amount of time, you can click on this calls tab across the top and click this gold button called schedule call. And this is really handy if you have like something you want to track and get back with them on, you know, consistently, but not like overly, right? So you can put in the call notes, you know, need to call retiring in, you know, 18 months, check in periodically, get them pre-qualified, you know. So you can put in notes to yourself on why you're calling them, what you need to check in on. And you can say, okay, I want it to happen on this date in the future. I'm going to call it this time of day. And you do have the option of syncing this reminder to your Google Calendar or not. So if you want to have a reminder on your dashboard and a Google Calendar, leave it as yes. If you don't, just click no. And the neat thing here is you can use this as a one-off and just add the single call. Or you can toggle the repeat calls to yes and say, well, actually, I need to call this person 5 times or 7 times over the next year. Add the call, system will update. And now it's saying, okay, you have a reminder coming up. And the neat thing about these ribbons is they're also going to land on the front of your dashboard as a reminder, but it'll say, they'll be green if they're not even close to coming up. And they turn gold when it's in within a day or so. And then when it turns red, that's when you know it's time to act because it's due today. And then as you call these people, these scheduled calls are going to manifest up on your mandated calls up here, up on the top right. So these are going to land on those specific days as part of your mandated call list. And you can just click on complete to let the system know that task is done. Anything to add in, Ryan? We good? I think I got it.
We are good. I'm just kind of hanging out today.
That's all right. Hang out, man. All right, so let's talk a bit about what the heck is sent to me and what is sent to leads. Oh, and I think a question may have come in here. So glad you can set the repeat feature. Yeah, it's super handy, Elliot. It's a lifesaver.
Yeah,
All right.
that would be like
Yeah.
an only comment. We did this the other day in another webinar with somebody who had just imported their leads. They've been in the business a while,
Yeah.
and they were just putting their past clients in. I mean, if you did nothing else other than just make sure you had repeat contacts set up for everybody that you get in
Mm-hmm.
touch with them, what, four times a year, maybe once a quarter.
Doesn't hurt.
Yeah, could have a big impact on your business.
And it helps that referral train build and grow.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So when we are speaking to what is sent out to your contacts for you or from you via K Plus versus what K Plus may send you, the agent, there's some differences. And I wrote out we actually did a session on it on what is sent to me and what is sent to leads. And I really encourage you to watch this. It's on YouTube. It's about, 20 minutes, but I really encourage you to check it out. And then there's also, I'll drop the link into the sheet. I guess I forgot to on this one, but I'll make sure you get the link to the sheet because it also outlines what goes out and where. Now, when we're speaking to reports and K Plus, you do have some reports of which can be going out per type of contact status on your dashboard. And a lot of these are set up to be automated for you. There's a couple that you can enact yourself. Now, the first one is this market report. So when you're looking at a contact in your dashboard on their overview tab, so that's the first tab that opens, is that first tab on the top left. You can actually look here to the bottom right. So like kitty corner to overview, you've got your monthly market report. And you just drop in a zip code here and click update. And every 28 days, the system is automatically going to pull a monthly market report of statistics for this contact for that zip code. And it's done. It's like set it and done. You don't have to worry about it. That's when you physically put together. If you have a contact in the system that is a seller, so if I go into my leads, I think I've got a seller lead in here. Let me take a look. So if you have a seller lead and they are a contact status, so right now this is a status of closed, and you can see we can also send them a monthly market report. If you got the status of client, meaning you have an active listing for them, it's going to take a moment for the dashboard to update this. So you can see we have the status of client is saying, okay, do you want to, add them to your client app, which is our transaction management app for K Plus. You can then enter in this weekly traffic report for the listing client. And you can just drop in the MLS number here for when you entered it into your MLS database. And the system will automatically pull like a traffic report every week to send that person on hits they've had on their site. And I'll show you an example of where you can find all of this information and examples in a moment. Another one you can set up is this monthly seller valuation report. And I should say you can set up, basically when you have a new lead land in the system that is a seller lead, where they did the opt-in with giving us their address and then the second opt-in of the email, so they land in the seller lead section. So when we're looking at leads, seller leads, these are all people that we have their name, address, and email, typically. So what'll happen is When people opt in to get the valuation on the front side of your site, the system will automatically send them a monthly report about that property. And just as a reminder, your sell tab on your site, when you click on website here on the left and click view my website, so your sell tab lands across the top of your dash, or not your dashboard, but your website. And then it gives you the valuation call to action for those people. So once they opt in with their address and then they opt in with their email, they land as a seller lead. The market that monthly goes out automatically. And then there's also a monthly newsletter. And you'll note here I'm talking about specific statuses of which they attach. So the monthly newsletter is for all sphere, automatically goes. The seller valuation is for every status except archive. The weekly traffic report is sent to client and contract status. So you can kind of get an idea of how we're taking this information and helping people move along that transaction line until you get to closed, and then sphere, and then, hey, referral, oh, and then you need to sell and buy again, great, who knows? But you have this information that can help keep your marketing and name in front of people and provide, useful content. Now, when we want to look at these types of reports on this doc here, if you click here and use this link, make sure you do it when you're logged into your K Plus dashboard, because this takes us to a page within the dashboard. If you click it before you're logged in, it's just going to say, hey, you need to log in to see this. So this link of the conversion.com new agent sample.php is where all of the examples of whatever we send out that's automated live. So this top section is going to speak like to the welcome email and the day 2 email. And as we scroll down, you'll also see responses that correspond with your notifications that come in on this little triangle tab with the exclamation point. So all of these are in relation to a communication. So every time you see one of these, that means that we have sent out something in regards to this activity that lead put forward today or yesterday or whenever they were here last. The reports land at the very bottom of this section. So they're all pretty much HTML. They have the bells and whistles, the photos, links, and so forth. So like when we're looking at the client and contract weekly traffic report, it's going to have your logo, it's going to say hi and their name, and it's going to have just some real simple information on how many visits they've had since it's been put on the MLS, and it linked to your latest blog post, so it's key that you're adding something in for blogging. And then it also gives them the prompt to download Millions Mapped, which of course will be connected to you, the agent. So, it's a nice, here's some good information about your property. Hey, you can keep in contact and look at things on this app that's customer facing. And then we're going to pull your profile picture and your contact info. And all of this is static and cannot be edited. It's just automatically run, batched, and out it goes. And you can scroll through and see all of these examples, like the seller monthly valuation, the Sphere monthly newsletter, and the market report. So you can get an idea of what you can let your people know what to expect, and make sure they're aware these things are going to be coming. And you can, these can be small talk as well. Hey, did you get that market report? That was pretty interesting. Look at these listing counts, whatever it is. But you can pick something and make sure they're aware of it. All right. Now, Ryan, let's talk a bit about Property Boost. I'm going to dive in and I'm going to call on you if I've got questions, because
Cool.
He's like the expert on it, and I'm kind of like, I know K Core and K Plus real good. so I'm going to go ahead and talk a bit about Property Boost. And we're going to access Property Boost, which is a really, really dynamic tool to use to get lead gen, boost your listings. I mean, gosh, there's so much you can do. So I'm going to click into Marketplace here down this left-hand side. And then within lead gen, there is Core Property Boost. And it's pretty dynamic because it helps you with your listing presentation. It helps you get the word about the listing out there. And it's going to help you with your presentation and just general viewings of the public out there, because we're going to push this out and do some targeted marketing for that specific property.
Yeah,
So if you're
can I
interested,
explain a little?
say again.
Can I explain? Well, like, go ahead and
Yes, please do. No,
I'll
no, I would appreciate you to say something right now to help me.
well, yeah, this is one of my favorite topics right now because as you know, I run a lot of the Google and Facebook PPC here,
Mm-hmm.
and so I see these numbers every day. What leads come in at in terms of cost per lead, and so far, Property Boost is destroying our Facebook and Google leads and getting better data because what it does is it pulls in the name, email, and phone number that Facebook has on file. So our regular Facebook ads product does do that, but it does it around niche focused property searches. This gets more targeted around specific listings. So, in my mind, it's kind of like getting a Zillow lead for between $3 and $6, where on Zillow, they're kind of asking you about a specific property. It's
Right.
similar. So I'll let you go through and continue with the demo, but just want to get that in. And I missed one big point. This is awesome for listing agents. If you want an automated way to stay in touch with your sellers and make them see that you're doing stuff, because it's going to send them a report every day on the activity. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I'm just going to grab a quick address here, 155 Tweed Boulevard.
Yeah. So some of
So
the results. Go ahead.
oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm just going to type in the address here. Now, what were you going to say?
Yeah, while you were doing that, I was gonna say some of the results we're seeing. We had one. I helped somebody set one up last Thursday, and by Tuesday they had, I think it was like 21 leads, and that was on a $60 boost. The whole week wasn't even up yet.
Oh,
So
yeah, that's right.
so if you're looking, and I think the reason why we had this in this topic today was if you're looking for a way to fill your pipeline and use some of the automated stuff that Annalisa was showing, automatically hashtagging and sending drip campaigns, and some of the contact management stuff, you want a lot of leads to apply the training earlier today too. This is your quickest way to get them in my mind.
I agree. It's one of the most dynamic things I've seen in a while. It's pretty incredible. So when you opt in, basically you hit, enter property address, and I just started typing in the address, and I'm just going to click it to select that property and use selected listing. And then it's going to walk me through like, okay, which package do you want? Is it 1 week for daily performance for $60, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, etc. And it gives you an example of what's going to go out regarding the property. And I don't think I can probably get a little further. Yeah, it's going to ask me to go through billing, and I don't want to put my credit card in there.
Yeah.
So, but basically, it's going to give you a report that you're going to be able to log in and see. And I'm going to freeze my frame real quick here and try to get an example of that. Or do you have
Yeah.
one, Ryan?
I don't have it handy. If you want to find it, I can talk.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
What's on the screen here is actually a static. The Property Boost, they need to update that. It's actually doing carousel ads, which are a little more complicated. They take more time to set up if you try to do this manually. So it'll scroll a couple of pictures of the property, and it'll optimize around which ones are getting clicked the most and show those first. So there's some reasons why this, the cost per lead is really low. It's just there's just a lot of automation and sort of machine learning going both through the API, both on our end and through what Facebook does. As Annalisa just mentioned, you're at $60 for 1 week. You can go up to 5 weeks for $240, but that $60 test, in my mind, is a really good place to start. And if you're going to look at this, if you have a lot of inventory, maybe go take a few of your listings that you have a hunch might be hot, run a $60 boost for a handful of them, and then look and see which ones sort of resonated with the wider world out there on Facebook, and scale those ones up, right? If they're getting a better click-through rate and more leads. There, Annalisa has. There you go. So this will show you, and I can probably get a screenshot too of an active one.
Yeah.
But this will show you, both you and your seller will get an email daily showing the impressions, the clicks, the shares, and the leads from your individual boosts. Let me go hunt for that.
And a running cost per day, so you can see it kind of adjusting. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And again, like he was saying, you can add those. It's automatically going to be hashtagged. I believe it starts with PB and then the address. So if it was to be hashtag, it would be something like, so it starts with a PB, and then if it was 123 Main, it would equal the hashtag PB123 main, basically. And then you could go into your dashboard and pull up your hashtags on the left, find the tag, click it, and see your entire list of people who landed via a property boost call to action.
I
And
just
then you
pasted a screenshot of the one that I was talking about that was run last week.
okay,
Um,
I'll grab it.
it says 19, but it was like a 1 day delay. The agent had actually had more than 20 in her account at the time that we recorded this. Um, but yeah, on the seller side of things, so your seller is going to be psyched because they're going to get this listing report, this report every day that the boost runs. But the other big thing that this can do, especially if you're doing it at scale for multiple listings or for a whole office, is that you get to go back to the seller after the boost or after a month and say, hey, this many people on Facebook saw it, we had this many clicks, we had this many leads, and we're not getting offers, we're not getting showings. It could be the price. So it gives you some ammo to justify price reductions, which of course, depending on how much scale you have with this, if you're doing it for a whole office, will have serious impact on how fast your listings are closing overall and GCI at the end of the day, if that makes sense.
Well, I think so. I think it's pretty dynamic and amazing to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. How's everybody else feeling about it? Kind of interested, kind of intrigued, I hope. So did you send that link to me, or did you want me to give you a presentation?
I chatted it to everybody in the presentation.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, all right.
Click here.
Here. Okay.
Slack it.
Thank you, sir.
So
there it is.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, one of the big things with a system like Conversion is, you can load in the people you already know, you meet people at happy hour, you load them in, do all the contact management stuff, use it as a CRM. But if you really want to kind of take it to the next level and scale out, you need sources of traffic and leads that are scalable. And in this case, pretty much the sky's the limit. Every listing you get or every listing your office has that you have permission to market, you can run through this process right there.
And I think this is something that, of course you could do this to your own listings, but if you've got it worked out in your own office and you've got to see some hits coming in, maybe you've run it on a property within the brokerage. What do you think about that?
Yeah,
of course,
so
following local rules and regs and all that good stuff. But.
Yeah, right now Property Boost will actually let you pick any listing in the MLS, and we're kind of leaving it on you to, not advertise stuff you're not supposed to. But if you can go get permission, if you see a really hot listing, you have a friend at another office, they've got a great property, you just showed it yesterday, give them a call, say, hey, I want to advertise this, generate some buyer leads. Most listing agents, well, I assume it's most because I'm an optimist, but most will say, yeah, give me some traffic for my listing right there. So don't let the fact that you don't have any inventory get in your way here, stop you from using this.
Well, and this could be a whole other window in gaining new inventory or new buyers or new sellers or what have you.
Great point. Yeah, so because, like that screenshot on the screen could easily, once you have a few done, you could easily print that out, put it in your listing presentation, and close more listings using the proof that you have that you're doing.
Yep. Quantifiable fact.
Fact.
Awesome. Now that kind of wraps up where we kind of ended yesterday or the day before with the everything like on the alerts, the different types of reports, triggering things by hashtag and setting up repeat calls and property boost. Are there any questions around this content before I loop back to answer a different question that wasn't related to the forefront of the presentation? Anybody?
Do it.
Okay, so there was a really good question that came along from Robert. He's saying, okay, how do I set up a drip campaign for a hashtag? I get leads coming in with a specific hashtag. I want to send them campaign I use for all my other new leads. Okay, really easy to do. It's similar to a setup with the hashtags where you've got the hashtag on your landing page, you got your hashtag on your squeeze page, and you want it to trigger alerts and a drip campaign or one or the other, easily done. So on your dashboard, you are going to go into My Settings, and you do that via clicking your name top right, and then clicking My Settings. And of course, it takes us back to that configuration page where we found the hashtag setup for listing alerts, a little about 2/3 down this page. Now, drip campaigns live on this page at the very bottom. So you'll scroll it on down to the bottom, and you're going to see first a section that's going to say add drip emails and texts, add a new drip campaign, and this is where we do the building. But if you scroll in here initially and you look where it says current drip emails and texts, just under that, you may see drip campaigns here if you have taken the deliberate steps of importing a drip campaign or building your own drip campaign. If you log in today and you scroll down and you see nothing here, it's not a big deal. It just means you haven't created a drip, you haven't imported a drip, which some people do, some people don't. But I'm going to show you how you can actually assign it a hashtag to launch a campaign. So what we're looking at is an example of the K+ default buyer campaign, and I imported a copy onto my dashboard. And what I can say is whenever a lead lands with Evergreen School District attached to it, I want this drip campaign to attach and launch. And of course, every time you change a feature, it's going to update the screen to build it in. So now I know whenever a lead lands with Evergreen SD attached to it, it's going to attach a specific drip campaign. And then what you can do is either, like if you want to have this assigned to all of your new leads that are coming in and maybe supersede the broker default, maybe you've got a special one that you created that has your own flavor to it, who knows, you can say, okay, actually, I want this campaign now that I've built it, I want this campaign to be assigned to all buyer leads going forward. Like right now, I want it to attach to all buyer leads, we're good to go forward. Now, if you want this to be a permanent thing to override your broker drip that they might have going as a default, you need to scroll up, and within this update your settings section towards the bottom, it'll have a section where you can choose your new lead drip campaign, your seller, active, sphere, client, closed. So you can create a drip for each of these scenarios. But what you can do is say, well, whenever a new lead lands, I need this one to go. Or whenever an active lead, whenever I switch them to active, then I want this one to go. So you can choose a series of communications. Now, a real important thing to keep in mind is when you assign a drip to a contact, that drip will pick up, let's say like you've already had them on like the default drip for 4 days, and now you're going to switch up their drip. The drip is going to pick up based on the age of the contact. So it's kind of like when Bud came out with the born on dates, you know, on their beer. That's how you're going to know when the drip's going to pick up. So if the lead is 4 days old, the drip is going to pick up on day 4 of that particular drip you just assigned them to. And then it's going to go forward. Now, if you switch up the drip campaign and the lead's 80 days old and the drip campaign you put them on ends at day 90, well, they may just get 1 or 2 of those points of contact depending on what you have built into that drip. So just be aware of those time constraints there. And Jordan's saying, hey, is there a way around that? Yes, there is. So you can actually jump into a single lead. Let me go ahead and go.
You can?
Who? What? I don't know. Am I telling stories? No. Yeah, you can. Yeah. So like if I open up a contact and then I click on their profile tab, this is kind of like all the nuts and bolts of like back-end information, like what do I have for their contact information, extra information. But this system info section gives you the ability to drop in and restart the drip. You just click it. And of course, because I'm a test account, it's going, oh, hey, girl, you need to sign in. But I'm just going to go backwards and figure that out in a second. Right, y'all? But yes, you can restart it just by going into that profile tab and hitting restart. All right. Now, when it comes to building a drip, if you're building a specific drip from scratch. So I'm going to go back up to my settings, scroll down towards the bottom where drips live. And if I'm creating one from scratch, I want to stop at this add a new drip campaign. So this is how we name it. Like we create the shell. And then this section over here is where we add the tasty goodness into the shell. So this is where I think there was an example of what he was using. Let's see here. It's for all new leads, PR. Oh, so it's PR Port Orange. Is that the, I think that's the tag that Robert's saying. So it must be a specific area in Port Orange, price reduced in Port Orange, I bet. So he's using the hashtag PR Port Orange, and we could call this campaign, you know, like Port Orange reduced, because now we have a specific drip campaign maybe we're creating for this specific group of people. And then I can decide, well, when I create this drip, do I want to share it with the whole of K Plus to network, or do I want to keep it all to me? So you can either click share or don't share. You can always share it and not share it whenever you need to. And then you can choose the hashtag that you want to trigger. Well, I haven't built the one that he's using, but basically you would have your hashtag in, maybe you drop it on your test account because it hasn't been created until it triggers via a lead online. So you'll want to go into a test account and create a hashtag, and I can loop back and show you how to do that. But you just choose the tag that's going to trigger the drip, and then you click add campaign. And the system's going to refresh the page, and it's going to pop us down lower where those drips are located. So it might take a moment for that to update. And now we can scroll down and find that drip campaign. I got to delete some of these. So what we have is your Port Orange reduced, and we can see that it has two sections to it so far. It has the new lead initial text, which is that text that's going to be sent to that contact. You know, when you get the call from K Plus and we're like, hey, you know what, we got a lead for you. Press 1 and we try to connect you with that lead, or press 2 to accept the lead and launch the initial text. So when you drop an initial text in here, it's going to override the broker default, and you can actually customize it. So you could set this up for any scenario, really. And when you add the information in, notice how this box outlined in blue? This just means you're actively editing. I can't spell when I'm on the phone, apparently. So if you want to save your work that you've added in here, click outside of the box, and then the page will update and cement that text into your drip. And if you have questions, please type it on into that section. So the same goes if we scroll down to the bottom and look at the initial welcome email as well. So you can create your own welcome email, which in turn triggers the data validation that we utilized for the dashboard. And you can create your own subject and body as a welcome. So at the next point, then you need to create like the body of what it'll start sending, when, and how. So we scroll her back up. And because we created the shell here, now we need to add content to it. So we just basically choose the one that we created, like Port Orange Reduced. And I can say, I need this to send on day 1 or what have you. And I want to send this out as an email or a text. Now, the cool thing about this is if you set up text messages within your drip campaigns and the person doesn't have a phone number attached, the system will recognize that for you and convert it to an email. So it's still going to go out. So just rest assured, if you put a text in there, we don't have a phone number, we still send it as an email. Now, the neat thing about these is we have all of these variables in here, which can pull information directly from the database and autofill content for you. So some people might refer to these as merge tags. We call them variables in K+, but you might be familiar with merge tags. So it's the same thing. So Now, whether you're setting up a text or an email, you have to have something in the subject because it'll all send. So what you can say is like, hi, thanks for stopping, whatever you're gonna put in here. And then you can put in the variables of like, hi, first name. This is hashtag, where is it? Agent name, I think it is. Yeah. So you can drop in these variables and the system is going to pull all of this content directly from your profile, the leads profile, and drop it in and when it sends out. Now, you can see it's also outlined in blue because we're editing. And we can just click add email, and the system's going to grab this content and put it in for day 1 in Port Orange Reduced. So I'm just going to scroll down to Port Orange Reduced. I'm going to go on a journey of scrolling. Here we go. So we can see we've got our subject and body for day 1 in here. And we can always pop in and adjust the days and the method of send if we want to. Or we can just ditch it by deleting it. Now, the neat thing about these is when you look at the method of sending, you can also send yourself reminders with email to me, text to me, schedule a call, and there's an extra little tasty goodness with this webhook, which allows you to push information out to like Slide Broadcast or Thanks.io postcards or something to further your marketing and contact touch with this particular lead. So there's a lot of little ins and outs you can leverage here. So if you want to add in something to yourself, maybe on day 2, you want to remind yourself to do something, you can just scroll up to that add drip email information right here. And you can say on day 2 of Port Orange Reduced, I want to remind myself, I'm going to email myself a reminder to check them for Facebook. Maybe I'll reach out and say hi. I don't know. Do it. So you can just add this email as a reminder to yourself. So on day 2, you have a task set up that you need to follow up with. Now, something to keep in mind with the K Plus drips is it's 1 action per day. So you would set up an action like a part of the drip for the contact on day 1, and then you could set up something for yourself day 2. But you can build these reminders in so it keeps you fresh, so you're not constantly like, did I do that? Did I remember to do that? No, I got my email reminder, I followed through, deleted it, it's off my list. So does that make sense to everyone on how you can create these, trigger them with a hashtag, build content in, use the variables? Hopefully it wasn't too fast of an explanation. And I'll put in some other slower tutorials on the doc when we're done as well.
Glenda's asking how often you can email and text leads on the drip. It's once a day, right?
Yeah, it is a once a day action. So there's 1 trigger per day. And so it's you're either going to be sending like on day 1, day 2, or whatever day, you're either going to be sending to the lead or you're sending it to yourself or sending a webhook out. So it's 1 action per day, whether it's lead or to yourself, and then you can go from there. All right, well, I don't see any new, oh, here we go. You can't text the lead, then text yourself to call the lead on the same day. Well,
right?
well, there's ways you can text the lead aside from the drip campaign. But if you wanted to build in something within the drip, if you had an action for yourself that, hey, today I'm going to send the drip and I need to text them today, there's not a dual purpose within the drip campaigns at this time. However, we can make a note and talk with product about it. I'm not sure what the capabilities are, but we can bounce it up and see what happens. Now, in speaking to this question on texting, so how do I explain this? So within the quick actions up here, when we're thinking about texting and mass actions, this mass text does have a stop on it. You can text X amount of people per day per hashtag, basically. And that's what we don't want people to get blacklisted as, you know, spam with their phones. Now, this has a limit. The mass has a limit. However, you can go into a lead themselves and you can text as many times a day as you want via the individual lead. So if you wanted to text someone as a one-off or a few times that day, you can do that. You can go into their overview tab and you can write in a text here. And then you can click action, send text message, and send it out from this little quick note guy. You can also click on the correspondence tab and click send text. Now this one has a special little goodie in it because you can actually drop an MLS number in here on the secondary field, and it's going to attach the primary image of the listing to the text. So you can see like, hi, check out this place. I think it ticks the boxes, you know, and then you drop in your bit.ly link. And then you type in the MLS number and send the text, and the system will send out whatever you wrote here. It'll attach the primary image of the listing, and it's going to note it below within this correspondence information of what you sent and when. So you do have the ability to text a lead anytime via their own individual profile, but with the mass, you know, it has a little bit of a sticky wicket there, and on the drip campaign, it's just once a day. You can set up a text once a day via a drip. Hopefully that answered the question. All right, well, I think we should wrap up. We got 5 minutes until noon. I know we have a couple more things coming up here, but I hope this was a helpful session. I will get this formatted and loaded up into the Learning Center, the Learning Portal. We did add these in to be accessible anytime. So if you click the cap at the bottom left of your dash, it'll open up our core Learning Portal. And of course, there's all sorts of good stuff about the KV or the K Plus team, like Quick Start, Agent Quick Start, etc. If you click on Growth Strategies, we should see our tile for, I'll have to make sure it's public, but basically there is a tile for the Conversion Plus webinars of which we've been holding. So I'll make sure we get that added in there or it's visible. So I'll work on that. But it's there, I just need to make it visible. So that basically wraps up. Anything to add, Brian, before I shut her down?
Nothing at all except noon is like 3 hours ago. All right. Have a good one, everybody.
Yeah, but you're older than me, right? 3 hours, right? Maybe some 25. Yeah, that's what it is. All right. Bye, everybody.